and hit shift to make it go a little quicker. And you can move that down. You can of course use your mouse, but you might knock it out of alignment, so hitting V, which also you can see there at the top of the tools panel, is the move tool. Hitting V is the shortcut. So that's number 2. We'll do that again. We'll duplicate that layer by hitting V and using the arrow tool, the arrow key I should say, holding down shift. We've got 3 nice grey content blocks. Now we're even going to be more lazy and duplicate one of these shapes again. Duplicate it, and we're going to hit V for the move tool. Use the arrows on the keyboard to move right, and hold down shift so it moves quicker, like that. And I'm going to create these shapes. I should have picked that top one and just moved it across so it would be in perfect alignment with that, but we can fix that. So hit that shape and then press Ctrl and T to scale it, drag it out, down like so, and double click it. Double clicking confirms the scale that we've pulled it out to. Let's just click the background layer there to see it. There we go. And again, being even more lazy, duplicate that again to produce the rest of the content blocks. Again, by hitting Ctrl T and by hitting Shift, you can drag one end of that shape without distorting the whole shape to about there on the scale. Yep. Duplicate that one. Move that across. Now, as if by magic, because I've skipped ahead a little bit, I've produced the other shapes there for the rest of the content blocks. The sketch. It's a little bit out of scale, a little bit wonky as well, so obviously they'll need some fine tweaking when we have all the elements in place. But creating loads of vector layers, you obviously create loads of layers, and I put them in a folder there, content blocks. There's quite a few, but as you can see, this is all a duplicated vector shape which I've rescaled and then recolored. These black areas are to indicate where we will eventually put in images when the site is constructed. Okay, let's add another block underneath this one. Let's click the background layer, change that color. Of course we can tweak the colors later. Oops. And then use a shape, click and drag to create an outline area for the website. Let's just reduce its alpha level there because we need to work on the areas above it. So let's add another shape. Again, we click the rectangle tool to create that navigation bar there. And don't worry about the wacky colours on this website. I mean, purple and red, we can alter those very quickly later. Now let's use the pen tool to create these like streaks of light here coming from this building. This building will be a photographic element which is put in on working the site up. So let's hit P for the pen tool and let's pick white. Let's go white on the color picker. And let's start drawing these out by clicking each point there, going across and more or less following the shape. You see it's filled up. I had to plot 3 points there because it's closing that path because that was the starting point there. Close it. Cells. Paths. When you're drawing a path, you'll see a little round circle when you come to draw the last path point before the path closes. Let me see, let me show you here. See, a little circle there, that means you're closing the path. Draw out the others. Again, close the path. And the last one. Oops, too far across. There. Turn the purple layer up so we can see the shape created, and I'm using the direct selection tool just to tidy up bits. The shape again just by clicking the shapes, and when they highlight, like that one there, drag them or reshape them just to fine tune them really. Like so. Let's put the background layer back on just to check that we've more or less covered the elements that were there. Our content blocks are in place. We need to rescale those up a little bit and move them across a bit because they're a little bit out of scale there. We can do that by selecting that whole folder and again hitting Shift and using the right arrow on the keyboard and the Move tool to move those across. Let's just turn the background layer off, and I'm just going to fill that all with black. So by hitting D on your keyboard will bring up default colors in the palette down there, in the colors palette. It will bring up the black and white. Then we'll block out that background layer by Edit, Fill, foreground color. Okay, there we've got a black background. And then we'll start tweaking some of the colors here. Change that purple to grey. Content blocks really should be white. Let's just go through those. White, like so. We also want to rescale them because there's a lot of wasted space here because our sketch was a little bit disproportionate. So in the Layers panel, if you select that folder, the Content Blocks folder, and hit Control T, see the bounding box that comes around all those layers. If you now hit Shift and then drag one of those handles up, it'll maintain its aspect ratio. See that? However I drag, it'll stay in the same ratio. So just change the size of that so it fits that area a little bit better. Position it. Double click it to confirm that. We have some nice content areas. We need to tweak these ones here a little bit later to match the sizing. And these top layers here for the streaks, they need some work with the direct selection tool. So hit A, tweak those a little bit. We're going to rasterize these layers, turn them into bitmap layers, so we can put some blurs on them. Let's do that now. So in the Layers panel, Control, click all the layers that make up these light streaks, and then right click to rasterize layers. There you go, see how the masks disappeared? And now they are no longer vectors but pixels. And let's select each one in turn. First one there, shape 8, which is that one. And let's go Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. Click that one. I set it? About right. 2.9. Accept that.